Race fans, welcome to Inside Draft. This is a show that we've talked about doing for almost 2 years now, and it's actually a behind-the-scenes look. The idea was a behind-the-scenes look while we're interviewing our drivers, that we do the driver profile, the behind-the-wheel segment that we do for MAV TV. So pretty much this is a place where we envision fans getting the inside scoop on the race teams and the drivers, and the race teams and drivers getting the inside lane, kind of the fast lane to the front with our track tips and tricks. Which coming up this fall, we're doing a long extended segment right here on the Inside Draft of how to get a sponsor. So that'll be a 6-week segment, or 6 segments over 6 weeks that we do coming up. So kind of a new idea. We had planned on launching this. It's an old idea, but we finally put it together and said, let's do it right now. We'd planned on launching this show actually in the end of October to November, but a couple of drivers, Robbie Kennealy that we've got on the show tonight, our very first show, his shop burned down, motorhome burned down, burned the race shop down, burned a car down. We've got a couple of other drivers that need a helping hand, and we're already filming these behind the scenes. We've been doing the same exact show every week for MAV TV that we insert pieces. So we thought, why not go live, let the fans interact with us. So the show will be in 4 segments. The first part is news and upcoming events. The second is the behind-the-wheel driver profile that we film. It'll end up being a 2-minute segment on MAV TV, but you'll get to see about a 25 to 30-minute interview that we get all the information we need to make that segment up from. Then after that driver profile, the behind-the-wheel profile interview, we'll open this up, and on the message board, if you've got any questions, just jump in there, and it's the fan Q&A segment for the driver or myself, anything you'd like to ask. And then we close the show with track tips and tricks. So let's start with right now. Let me jump over here. I don't have Matt with me tonight for this first show, so I'm on my own tonight, running the switcher and having fun with all the toys that we've created for this talk show. So the first thing I want to talk about is some of the news, and let's jump over. Terry Armstrong won $2,000 in the Olga's California Dream 100. $2,000 100-lap mini stock race. This was the second annual of that event, and it features the best 4-cylinder racers from probably the Mississippi West. Third annual's already in the talks right now. Again, the Olga's California Dream 100. It was filmed for MAV TV. Was an incredible race. Just such close competition. And again, $2,000 to win in a 4-cylinder mini stock race, something very special. Congratulations to Terry Armstrong. 77 car, you see him right there. That's a rear-wheel drive car, and the second place car was a front-wheel drive car. So you'll have to see it on MAV TV. It was a lot of fun. If you want to see the entire live stream, it's right here on Short Track TV. Jump back and look at the Olga's California Dream 100, and you can catch that entire race right there. So we'll jump back here with you real quick. A little bit more news before we've got Robbie on deck. I can see him waving at us right now in his simulator. It looks like he's hanging out there. He's called in on the show. So we are dark this week for the Madera County Fair. So if you're looking for something to do, Madera County Fair this week. It's a lot of fun, a lot of entertainment out there. A couple of other quick updates on some things just in the recent past, and then we'll jump forward to upcoming news. We had Audra Cicelli's daughter, Gianna, better known as G. She was injured a week ago Friday night in a mini cup accident. And just to give you an update, she's doing really well. I know we've had a lot of the drivers from Olga's California Dream 100 that came from up north. I've had a lot of messages, and they've asked. We really haven't put out much information, but if you want to go to Audra Cicelli's Facebook page, she gave an update. And little G is doing really well and recovering. I've seen some really cool pictures, so we're very excited for them. And in fact, we've got a little bit news in the future here I'll talk about, but a little sneak at that is little G. She's going to be the race director for the officials foot race. We're raising money for Valley Children's Hospital. So another thing, sad bit of news. Yesterday I attended Roy Hart Sr.'s funeral. Very sad to lose Roy. The racing community lost a great friend in Roy Hart Sr., but at the same time, what a celebration of his life. What a wonderful individual. There were so many, they were sharing, there was a section that they shared stories, and it was so uplifting and so many wonderful stories of Roy, and all I could say and what I could think about was he's the epitome, just if you had the Made in USA, they love Made in USA, Roy, that's what he is. He was Made in USA, the most genuine, patriotic, kind individual, helped so many people, Korean War vet, and very sadly, his memorial service was yesterday, and our thoughts and prayers are with his entire family, Ryan, Roy Jr., the rest of the family, his wife. Our thoughts and prayers are with you guys. What a wonderful, wonderful individual. I'm so proud that I got to be friends with Roy. If you want, I'll probably post something here in a bit here on Short Track TV. He would come out on our military tribute nights, and there was nobody that played taps like Roy Hart Sr., wonderful, well-spoken as well, wrote some really nice speeches for us and helped us out on those military tribute nights. So we'll be sadly missed. The entire Hart family are in our thoughts and prayers. Moving on to upcoming events. September 18th is round number 8 of the Nut Up Pro Late Model Series and round number 8 of the 5150 Junior Late Model Series. So what does round 8 mean? Round 8 typically is the round where champions have lost the champion, or the point leaders have lost the championship, I should say. It's amazing how many times we've seen this in the past. I can't tell you how many times we've thought the championship was locked up going into round 8, and the point leader just didn't need to make a mistake and something crazy happened. So this round number 8 has really been the pivotal round many times in the MAV TV televised series in the 7 years that we've had it on television. Stephen Blakesley and Outback Andy have talked about that even the last couple of episodes coming up round 8. So let's go over some of the points right now. We'll go over the Nut Up Pro Late Model points that I want to go over and kind of highlight a few things. Jaden Walbridge is the point leader right now. Matt Erickson, Tyler Herzog are tied for second. Kyle Keller in fourth. Jason Aguirre in fifth, all within striking distance. What I'm really interested in is, this right now, it's so tight, it's not really Jaden Walbridge's championship to lose. It's just about a 3 or 4-way tie at the top, especially 3-way. So he can't guard too much, but really interested in how Jaden manages this round number 8 that's been a pivotal and a disastrous round for the point leader for a majority of the time in the series. So that's your top 15 right there in the ticker going down below. 43 different drivers have competed in the Nut Up Pro Late Model Series in 2021. We've got a big entry list coming for October 2nd, so it'll probably put us beyond 50 different drivers. In the 5150 Junior Late Model Series, Jacob Smith, point leader, but Brody Armtrout running him down, Barrett Polhemus and Ethan Nascimento all within striking distance. You'll see the top 15 here in the points. But it's really the same situation where Jacob Smith is in a spot where he had a kind of a rough race this past race, and he's in a spot where he could lose the championship, certainly in round number 8. So do you guard? Do you run him, aggressive? And round number 8 in both the Nut Up Pro Late Model Series and the 5150 Junior Late Model Series has been that pivotal round that's just been big trouble for the point leaders. Pretty much, I would say, just about half the time. I'd have to go back. Stephen Blakesley's he's the encyclopedia, so he could let us know exactly how much, but probably as much as half the time it's been a tough round, that round number 8. So also coming up, September 18th, as I mentioned, what's coming up on September 18th, something very special. It's the officials foot race, and September 18th is our final fundraising night for Children's Hospital. We've done a month of fundraisers for Children's Hospital. Pop something up here for you, and then I'll play this world premiere video that we have for our officials. But let's talk about Children's Hospital fundraiser. August 21st to September 18th is our Children's Hospital fundraiser. $5 of every ticket during this month of August 21st to September 18th. $5 of every ticket sold at the Madera Speedway has gone to Children's Hospital and will go for this next week. 5 of every ticket sold at the Madera Speedway has gone to Children's Hospital and will go for this next week. 5 of every ticket sold at the Madera Speedway has gone to Children's Hospital and will go for this next week. 5 of every ticket sold at the Madera Speedway has gone to Children's Hospital and will go for this next week. 5 of every ticket sold at the Madera Speedway has gone to Children's Hospital and will go for this next week. 5 of every ticket sold at the Madera Speedway has gone to Children's Hospital and will go for this next week. 5 of every ticket sold at the Madera Speedway has gone to Children's Hospital and will go for this next week. 5 of every ticket sold at the Madera Speedway has gone to Children's Hospital and will go for this next week. 5 of every ticket sold at the Madera Speedway has gone to Children's Hospital and will go for this next week. but it's $10 that they earn per ticket, and that's because NutUp, our sponsor NutUp, is matching our $5 donation for a $10 donation in total for each ticket sold. Also, the hospital earns money from NutUp Industries is donating 20% of product sales when you go to nutup.com and use the promo code MAVTV20, as you see in the top right of your screen. Or if you purchase products at Save Mart or any of the stores around retail that you can buy your NutUp products from, you can email or mail in a copy of your store receipt. If you go store receipt to go to nutupindustries.com or nutup.com, and you will get 20% of the purchase price will go to Children's Hospital as a donation as well. So again, email or mail in a copy of the store receipt to nutupindustries.com or nutup.com showing proof of purchase, and 20% of that purchase, the total invoice, will go to Children's Hospital as a fundraiser as well. So we also have, let's jump over here real quick. We might as well show this first. This is going to be a fundraiser. We hope the biggest component, but it's going to be really difficult to beat the amount of ticket donations. It's quite the amount that we're donating right now in the way of tickets, but we hope this will exceed any of our donations. 4 of our officials got in trouble, made the penalty box for the first time in history at the Madera Speedway. The 4 key officials that call the races, they made a bad call, so they made the penalty box, and the penalty was to do a 1-lap foot race, and the loser of that foot race would help the maintenance staff clean restrooms at the end of that night. So they asked for a little bit more time, and while we were doing the Children's Hospital fundraiser, the idea came about to include this as part of the fundraiser. So we'll take pledges at the track for who fans think will be the winner, and we'll take donations, and all of that money, 100%, will go to Children's Hospital. And these 4 officials will do a 1-lap foot race, and the loser still has to help clean restrooms. Obviously, the 3, we'll call them 3 winners, I guess. They don't, but the winner of the race that earns the most pledges they're acquiring right now, that money goes to Children's Hospital. So let's go ahead and spool this up. I'm going to play this little promo. You'll see it all over the next week. We've got 2 or 3 promos, but here's one that we put together. So that was our guys, our 4 main officials. They'd asked for a little more time so they could work out and get ready. It looks like CK, based on that video that Matt put together over here in the editing side of the studio, has the upper hand on them so far. So it'll be kind of interesting. It'll be a 1-lap foot race. I think it'll be a lot of fun. We'll have drone shots. It'll be live here on Short Track TV, so we'll follow them with the drone. And they've asked for a little refreshment station on the back and all kinds of things. So I think we're going to have a lot of fun with that, to say the least. Let's see. I've got something else we'll play here in just a second. But we've got Robbie on deck right now. I see. We'll go back over and see if he's ready to go. Yep, looks like he's ready to go. It'll be just a second here. We've got October 9th, September 25th. I'm one line ahead here. September 25th is the 48th annual Harvest Classic, featuring the Kenny Takeuchi tribute and the Donnie Large Senior tribute race, wing sprints versus super modifieds. So if you want to see some super modifieds, September 25th is the date for you there. October the 2nd is the 9th annual Nut Up Short Track, 10,000 to win. So short track shootout, 10,000 to win. We've got some neat surprises there. Really big entry list growing right now for that. The official entry list goes out next week, but even prior to that, it's amazing the amount of people that are jumping in on that race. And then October 16th is the Triple Turkey Open. That started that tradition last year. Very, very fun event. A lot of cars coming for that event as well. And then right now we're scheduled for the October 30th Pumpkin Smash. We had to skip the Pumpkin Smash last year, but we get to run the Pumpkin Smash this year. So now it's time for segment number 2 in the show. That was our news. And segment number 2 is the behind the wheel driver profile, where you get to see when we're doing the interviews and recording that we take this 25-minute interview, knock it down to 2 minutes for MAV TV. You'll see it in its entirety as we film it live right now. Also get your questions ready on the right-hand side. As soon as I'm done with my questions, you can ask Robbie some, and who knows, maybe they'll make MAV TV as well. I'll give you a little, we've been working on these all summer long here at the studio, so I'm going to play a clip for you. Let's see which one Matt put in here. Looks like Jason Nigeri's short track shootout. Nope, sorry, wrong file name. Jason Nigeri's, it's his driver profile that was edited with some other components from the year, and it looks like it will air during the short track shootout is the notes he's got here for me. So I'll be right back. Watch this. It's just 2 minutes long. I'll be right back, and we'll bring Robbie Kennealy in.
Driver profile.
You know, I've known nothing but racing my whole life. My dad's raced before the day I was born. I was fortunate to grow up in a good family where racing and family time were separated when it was important, but definitely second generation driver. I know I'll never make it to the big leagues. Once upon a time I thought I was going to. Things just didn't pan out. So I'm nothing more than a short track driver here in California, just like my dad was 30 years ago. Racing's in my blood. It's all I know.
But Gary's starting to get angry, I think, with Bubba Nascimento, because he's really muscling the back of that 21 now. There's the bump and run of Gary now to the inside of Carlos Vieira. How will Vieira like that?
So on lap 19, Aguirre takes the lead.
Racing Jason Aguirre, this is the strongest performance we've seen from him on MAV TV.
Working on race cars has brought me to fabricate some really nice things. I've worked at race car shops up and down California. I'm now a pipe fitter for Outwater Irrigation, is what I do for a living. Even the things I build at work in the pipe fitting world, some of the brackets may look like a gusset you would see on a race car. It's just something that's on my mind 24/7. I enjoy what I do. It's something that I can take pride in. I consider myself to be one of the better pipe fitters throughout the valley here, and I think I just let my work speak for itself. Being a pipe fitter pays a little better than I would make working in a race car shop somewhere. Unfortunately, that's just the way times have gone. I'm very fortunate. I'm very lucky to be where I'm at right now.
And I think he was saving that, working that, and it worked to perfection. He practiced that all the way up until that caution, and Aguirre to the lead. And look, Aguirre leads lap 18, and at the conclusion of lap 19, he's trying to drive away from Bubba Nascimento.
To get a win would mean a lot.
It's tough. These guys are fast, and we're just going to have to get busy here.
And here comes the veteran, the Corbin Cash Waterford Irrigation car of racing Jason Aguirre, trying to fight back on Austin Herzog.
I'm very appreciative towards the people around me, my job, my crew, my sponsors.
That's a little sample of what the finished product looks like. That's 2 minutes. There was about 3 days of filming that went into that, and probably a 45-minute interview. Speaking of that, let's get underway with Robbie right now. Let's bring Robbie in. Robbie, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Very good. Good to have you on the show. This is the interview that we put together, and a lot of work, a lot of hours goes into what will come out of this, but what you just saw with Jason Aguirre, we'll collect a lot of footage and a lot of video and photos, and probably end up with about 2 days putting that 2 minutes together for you. So this starts that process. So we understand, and the reason we picked you for our first live here, we had you in the loop here in about 2 weeks coming up for a behind the wheel driver documentary. It was certainly because of what happened with the fire and that mess that you guys are in right now. So we wanted to pull you up as fast as we could and get this thing started to give you some help. So give us an update before we get started, if you would. Give us an update on what's the situation with the fire. You guys already under construction with a new shop? Have you cleaned up, or you dealing with insurance, or where are you guys at right now?
Really, it's just dealing with insurance. They came by about a week ago, and we haven't been able to go really look at anything yet. But, once we will, we'll definitely start cleaning up and build a new shop and go from there.
Now, give me the update again. There was a lot of talk of everything going down. It sounded like you guys were able to save your trailer. You saved some tools, your sister's truck. Give us an update on exactly what was lost in the fire.
Well, our stacker trailer, it was all loaded up, ready to go to Madera the next day. And so we have our truck, my sister's truck, my brother's bando. We have our toolbox. And, everything we would usually take to a racetrack is all saved. But in the fire, we lost definitely a lot of our cleaning supplies, a lot of our regular parts. We lost, of course, my late model, our entire race shop. The race shop was connected to a guest house that we lost too. I think we lost a flatbed trailer, and, we got a damaged mini cup back there as well.
Now, you've had some pretty nice help when it comes to the GoFundMe so far. You guys are still a long ways short of what's needed for a new car, though, correct?
Yeah, for sure. But, I can't thank the racing community enough for coming together and, helping us in this time of need.
Let's pop this up on the screen real quick right now. And to anyone watching, and certainly there'll be a lot of people, more people watch the recording of this because folks getting off work and whatnot. But here's what we ran on the live stream about your race team burning to the ground. The GoFundMe fans, you can go to GoFundMe.com, search Kennealy Fire Race Car Fund, or even if you're watching this on a computer or television, take your smartphone and hit that code on the right-hand side, and it'll take you right there and make a small donation. Robbie, tell us what we see on the screen. It looks like your car in the center as it was raced, fire on the left, and is that's your car pretty much burned down on the right-hand side, correct?
Yeah, that's what's left of it over there. You got a lot of, if you look there, you got like our setup stands there, and then you can't really notice anything else. And then to the left there is it burning down about halfway through.
Yep, sad sight. But like you said, the racing community is an amazing group and a very supportive group, the racing family. So we're glad they're jumping in, helping out. But I know you guys are only about 30% of where you need to be. So hopefully we can get some more help from you. So, all right, without further delay, let's jump into the part that we're filming for MAV TV. So let's get rolling right here. And I've got a list of questions that I put together for you, so this should be pretty fun. Again, any race fans that are out there right now, if you've got questions, maybe something I missed or something you want to add or just anything at all. As soon as Robbie and I are done with this little interview section, it's the fans' turn, basically. Okay, so the first question I have for you is, what's your favorite food?
Well, my mom's side, being Italian, I've always kind of liked anything really pasta, Definitely raviolis is kind of the big thing that I've always liked.
What's your least favorite food?
Least favorite, vegetables. Not really a big vegetable kind of person.
All right. I understand that. When I was a kid, but there you had this little cartoon called Popeye. I don't know if you ever heard of that. But spinach, you got so strong with that spinach and we'd eat it, and it was disgusting. So what is your favorite color?
My favorite color's always been blue. Every race car I've really ever raced up and, even now has always been blue.
What's your least favorite color?
I think green, because it's always kind of bad luck in the racing world.
I thought that too until I had Mountain Dew. Then I realized it was the color of money. So, all right. What's your favorite music and favorite song?
I don't really have preferably a favorite song, but growing up, my dad always played country music in the truck, no matter where we go. So, always kind of like that, and still listen to it now.
What's your least favorite music?
I don't really anything else, to be honest. Like I said, just growing up, I've always ever listened to country music, and I don't really listen to anything else besides that.
In school, what is your best subject?
In school, I feel like right now I've been taking an engineering class, and I really feel like that's my favorite and my best subject, being able to work with, cool stuff like that.
What's the most difficult subject in school for you?
The most difficult to me is, English and all that reading and stuff. I've never really been patient enough to sit there and read a whole book like that. But
All right, fair enough. English is important, though. That's how you write those proposals, right? I always say math and English, so very important to racing. What is your favorite daily activity? What do you do each day that's your favorite thing that you do?
well, each day after school, after getting my stuff done, I think my favorite thing is coming on here and, racing some iRacing and having some pretty fun time doing that.
And you're very well known as one of the better competitors in iRacing pretty much all over the country. I heard even the folks in iRacing were jumping in and helping you out with the situation with the fire. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, one day I think I was around 8, 9, somewhere in that kind of, area. Just really always, I came home from Christmas and, here came an iRacing sim and, I practiced on it till I was, around age 13 is when they allow you to. And, ever since then I've always come home, I've always played on it and, I've made a pretty good name for myself.
What is your least favorite activity that you do each day? What's the worst thing you do every day that you don't look forward to?
Probably waking up, just waking up and, feeling very, very tired and, you gotta wake up and, go on with your day.
So I would take it you're an evening person, not a morning person?
Definitely.
Okay. What subject in school do you think helps you the most with your racing?
Really right now I feel like it's engineering. I haven't been in school enough much, but I really feel like that engineering, is going to help me with the racing side of things.
How did you get interested in racing?
It was all the way I started racing quarter midgets. I started training when I was 4.5, and my family wasn't huge into racing, but my cousin actually raced quarter midgets, and he got us into them. And ever since, I raced quarter midgets for 9 years, and then I moved up obviously into the junior late models, and for this my third full-time year in those, so I'm having a lot of fun for sure.
So go back over, how old were you again? Did you say you were 4 years old when you started racing?
I started training. You had to train and kind of get your license at 4.5. And funny story, I actually got my license by putting it in the wall. I was going through turn 3 and 4 my first time flat foot, and I guess I forgot to turn, and I went head on into the wall. But that's how I kind of got my license and then started racing full time from there.
So I'm going to put a picture up for you to see on your screen. Tell me a little bit about that picture, if you would.
Yeah, so this is when actually when we first raced, we only had one car, and it was between me and my little sister there, obviously. And she actually was a lot into it more than I was to start. She raced before then, and I was actually a little too scared to do it. But the minute I saw her out on the track and me not out there, we bought a car and I fell in love with it.
So expand a little more on that. You said you were a little bit afraid of it. Your sister was not. Has that always been the trend? Is she the aggressive one, or is that not the case?
At the start, it for sure was. I mean, she was definitely a lot more ready to get into the car. But ever since then, I'm definitely not afraid to try new things and have some fun in a race car.
Now, she started racing prior to you, so were your parents into racing, or you guys first generation? Or tell us about your parents and how they became to love racing.
Really the only thing, it was my dad that he only did was he and his buddy he worked for a drag racing team, a little drag racing team that our family friend ran. And, our cousin is the one who really got us into it. And he's racing micro sprints out at Delta Speedway now. But, when he was racing quarter midgets, he kind of got us into it. And ever since then, we fell in love.
Okay, so you started quarter midget racing, you trained, and then started racing. Tell us and tell the fans about your very first race. What was it like? What took place? What were your memories of that very first time in competition?
Well, the one memory I've been told, and this is kind of story that we always go and told, is I was actually black flagged for going too slow. I guess I was a little too scared out there in my first race, and I would always look behind me, and I'd wave my hand out, telling them to go by, and I ended up actually getting black flagged for going too slow.
So that, how long did that take place? Was that just a race or two, or did you get past that right away and become very competitive?
I definitely did not get past that right away. I was always kind of that scared, not really wanting to go, full speed or anything, and it really didn't, get past that stage until we traveled all the way up to Oregon for one of our biggest races ever. It was kind of weird thinking that I had just been black flagged for going too slow, and we're headed all the way up to Oregon for, the Western Grands. But that was actually my first ever win. I think I qualified around 20 out of 40 cars, and I led every lap. And, since then, I've never really ever been scared or black flagged for going too slow, for sure.
So you're going all the way up to Oregon after being black flagged and not really being competitive. Did you just feel a sense of, oh my gosh, my family's taking me all the way up here, we're putting all this energy into my program, I have to do something? Did you feel that obligation, or where'd the winning ways come from? Did it all of a sudden just strike?
Well, I think it just snapped because I was 5-year-olds and I had no idea what I was doing. All I knew is we were going up to Oregon with a trailer behind us. But my parents definitely felt that way. They definitely felt like, oh my gosh, we're going all the way up to Oregon. What the heck are we doing? We just got black flagged for going too slow. But it was definitely really cool that we ended up getting the win there. And that's really my biggest win in quarter midgets.
So you mentioned your parents. Tell me a little bit more about your parents. Elaborate on the family support. You guys seem like a tremendous family with just unbelievable support from both of your parents, all the kids. So tell me a little bit more about both of your parents.
Yeah, they've always been supportive of our racing. I think ever since that, day when our cousin told us, they've never really, they've never took their foot off the gas pedal, I can put it. They're always supportive. They're always finding new ways to get us a bigger budget, and always finding new ways to get us hopefully up to NASCAR one day.
So let's have a little bit of fun here. We'll go. I've got a few pictures that we acquired. So do you remember anything about that picture?
All I can remember is those hideous shoes I guess I was into back then. But no, I think that's my first car. Actually, fun fact, I used the first car I got when I was 4.5. I used it all the way up until I was, 9 years later, 13 in my last year. That one car I had always used, and it has definitely a lot of race wins on it.
Tell me about this picture.
This was, I believe, in Oregon when little did I know I'd be winning the biggest race in my quarter midget career after that. It's crazy to think that the race before I had gotten black flagged for going too slow, and then we ended up winning it.
Yeah, your dad's got a little snap in his step there too, and then this looks like you're having fun anyway, or getting ready to go have fun. All right, so let's walk us through the types of racing you've done. So you started in quarter midgets, you're in 5150 Junior Late Model Series on MAV TV now. You've trained a lot with iRacing. Is there anything else in the portfolio, or is that the three things you've done so far?
I've only ever done, I did quarter midgets from ages 4.5 until the end of 2018 was my last year, and we really didn't know what to do after then. I have a lot of friends from the quarter midgets who ended up going into the micro sprint car runs out in Dixon and Delta, and that's kind of what I was looking forward to do. And I've always kind of looked over here, from the little quarter midget track, watching all these late models, knowing that I'd want to be there one day too. And Wiley X, who's been there since day one, they called us up saying that they could fund us for a ride at Madera, and that's eventually what we did.
I saw that big Wiley X logo. I have actually got a little remark down below here, but we'll hit it right now. So yeah, Wiley X, the logo on your shirt, on the side, even your quarter midget when you were small, it looked like a cup logo on there. So I'm glad you mentioned that, because they obviously support folks all the way up to the cup level, and then you've had support from day one. So tell us a little bit more about your Wiley X sponsorship.
Yeah, the owner of Wiley X is actually my uncle, and he's never backed down, just like my parents have. Ever since day one in quarter midgets, he's fully supported us 100%, even into the transition to late models, and even through COVID, they found a way to give us a little funding to keep us going.
So if you end up as a Cup driver, you may have to compete against a few of the other guys that are already up there, huh? Probably Harvick and those guys would already be retired by then, huh?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So back to the quarter midgets. Tell me how driving the quarter midget, and we've seen this quite a bit, where the really premier quarter midget drivers make smooth, fast drivers even at the big track once they become comfortable. So what in quarter midget racing helps you so quickly adapt to you were very smooth and very fast right away in the junior late models, 5150 junior late model series. So tell me what in quarter midget racing helps some of the drivers so much.
To me, I think the biggest thing was being smooth and kind of defending. In quarter midget, you were, most of the cars you were full gas the whole way, and if, you were even the slightest bit of loose or double steering, you would lose a lot of time. So it really taught you to be very, very smooth on the wheel, and defending in the way of you were all full throttle, kind of, and it was all really the setup and how smooth you can be, and there was a lot of back passing and defending while you were racing.
What was the biggest challenge when you first got into that 5150 junior late model series? I mean, what was the part that just completely shocked you or surprised you or overwhelmed you?
I think it was easily the bigger track and, kind of just the faster car. I mean, I've only ever really raced on a small little quarter midget track, and going up to something like that is huge. But, also the speed of the car, a little quarter midget only has from like 30 horsepower, in one of the fastest. And then you jump into a junior late model that has like 300 horsepower. And it's a huge difference.
Did the size of the race car affect you at all, or did you figure out where the corners of the car were pretty quickly? Because we've had some of the kids that have struggled with the size of the car. I'll hear that comment a lot. Did that bother you? And we hear Outback Andy all the time on the broadcast talk about how a quarter midget or mini cups or bandoleros will fit on the hood of most of the late models. So was the size a factor for you as well, or did you adapt rather quickly to that?
Well, I think that's the next thing I would have said is definitely the size. I mean, even now I'm still kind of learning of how close I can be to the next car because of how big they are. And I think, going to a little quarter midget that I could fit in this room, to a late model that would only fit in a shop is definitely a huge difference.
What were your goals for 2021 with the 5150 Junior Late Model Series?
I was hoping to just advance on our, championship standings last year. I think we finished around 8th place, and, I was hoping to, and still can hope for at least one podium during the year.
Certainly the fire has been the biggest challenge or the biggest obstacle now, but even when I had written a list of questions for you a few weeks ago prior to the fire, one of my questions was, what has been the biggest challenge for you and your family, the race team, in 2021? So other than the fire, what's been the biggest challenge?
I think the biggest challenge always every year for us so far has been just competing with the funding. We're a little bit of a low budget team here, and, competing with them big funding teams has always been hard for us for sure.
What has the 5150 Junior Late Model Series on MAV TV, and especially the TV component, what's that done for you? How's it helped you in your career? How important is that side of the series for you?
It's huge. I think the biggest thing is just the recognition being, on TV and, the whole thing. I mean, I've got a lot of people support me and realize and watch me on TV, and, even sponsors when you're walking up to them saying that you're on TV, and I think it's really fascinating.
So you mentioned support, a lot of people that support you. Tell me about those that support your racing efforts, probably in particular the key crew members. We've talked about the family, but what other key people are out there and crew members in particular that help to support your efforts?
Well, right now this year we've assembled kind of a really good team. I got my family that's here every day working, in the shop beforehand, before the fire, and we would come out here, we would get what we need to get done. But I think one of the biggest guys is definitely Jason Lawton. He's always had our support for us since day one this season. If we need the help changing the seat, he's there, and even with his business that he runs, he's always here and willing to work with us. But also John Keller, he's the motor builder. He's always willing to lend a hand into our car, and we can't thank them enough.
Well, speaking of John, they put you in a car down in Las Vegas this past week. So tell us a little bit about that car, how that came together, and it sounds like that's the hot rod, and it sounds like a pretty good hot rod that you'll be racing on September 18th at Madera in the Junior Series there.
Yeah, I've always, since day one of racing at Madera, I've really always wanted to venture out. And I think going to the bullring was a big step into the right direction. We had a lot of fun there. I think I ended up going from like the 7th in my first pro late model race. It was really a fun track and a good time. But, that car, John Keller called me during the fire and said, "You won't miss a race." And really got to thank him for that. And the car was definitely really, really fast at Las Vegas. And I'm excited to see what it can do here at Madera.
Yeah, speaking, you just took the words out of my mouth. What do you think you'll be able to do in that car? What are your expectations with that race car heading into next week's race at Madera?
I'm really hoping for a podium. I think the car running it at the bullring, I think it's capable of it, and if we can get there, it'll definitely accomplish my goals.
So what would your goals be for 2022? Have you thought about that yet? I know with the fire it's all kind of crazy, but what are your goals for 2022?
I'm hoping that, we can get one podium here. I mean, I haven't thought about it much, but we're hoping to go for maybe even a championship next year. If we can get our program going really good here and, get a podium or two here at the end of the season, we'll definitely go for a championship next year.
Well, and as fast as you've shown, there's a couple of times you've been in that number 15 car and you've flown around that place or trying to figure out who was in it or what was in it. So you certainly have the talent and what you do with iRacing. You get the right parts and pieces around you. I think it'll be something very special. I wouldn't think a championship would be out of the realm either, with as many youngsters are also coming in next year. There's a whole host of newbies coming into the 5150 Junior Series, so it's always a big turnover there. It'll be exciting to see what you do. Let's keep going. I'm going to ad-lib and throw a couple other questions in here. What are your dreams in life? What do you want to do in life? What do you hope the racing future holds for you?
From day one, it's always been to make it to NASCAR. I hope I can make it there in any sorts of way, and hopefully find enough sponsors to get there. But over the years, I've realized that really anything to do with racing would fulfill my dreams. Whether it's a broadcaster up in the booth, or working on the pit crew or on the shop every day, as long as it's something to do with racing, I'd definitely be fulfilled.
So let's pretend it's 2027 and you're on the pole of the Daytona 500. Who would your sponsor on that car be? If you could just dream up.
Hopefully Wiley X sunglasses.
So Wiley X, okay. What? I'm just thinking these off the top of my head. It's 2027. You're on the pole of Daytona 500. Who are you driving for? What team?
As a little kid, I've always been a Jeff Gordon fan. So, even now, him being retired, I like the whole Hendrick team. So hopefully it's a Hendrick car.
So Hendrick with Wiley X on board. So Hendrick Chevrolets. All right. So that would tell me, I was going to come up with another question. What would your interview go like? But we could almost handle that one, couldn't we? The Wiley X Chevrolet is super fast today and on the pole, and hopefully we can stay here and all that.
Yeah.
That'd be a lot of fun. So your goals would be to make it to NASCAR. Where do you see yourself? What would the road from here to Cup? Where would that take you? What would it look like if it was a perfect roadmap from where you're at right now? Would it be from here to the ARCA West Series, ARCA National Series, then Trucks, Xfinity, and on up that direction? Or what would the roadmap look like for you?
I feel like being in the Junior Late Model Series now, I think the perfect roadmap would definitely be going for a championship to get some recognition. And then, if we could do that, I'd definitely the next year probably make some definitely more pro late model races. Hopefully ARCA West and East racing. Maybe even a few super late model starts to, get me fully prepared. And then after that, it would definitely be into the Truck Series, the Xfinity, and then the Cup Series.
Yep, as much experience as possible. Here's another question I just thought of. Just while I'm looking at off screen here, I'm looking at some pictures of you as a youngster. You have the family support. What advice would you give to a young quarter midget driver coming in to the Madera Speedway, into the junior program? What advice would you give them to help better prepare them for what's about to happen?
My advice would be is to just really never give up. There were a lot of times that, we broke or something in the junior lates, and, it felt really bad the next day or something. But, just to never give up, know your stuff, always be out there in the shop being fully determined to go faster and hopefully win races.
What advice would you give a young driver that's not connected, they're not racing? I get this question quite a bit myself, so I'm really curious from you drivers. What advice would you give that youngster that's not from a racing family and they just want to learn how to go racing? What would you tell them? How could they get involved?
Well, I would say, depending on their age, how they can get involved would definitely be, if they're my age, I think, junior late models is a great starter. If they're a little younger, quarter midgets is, just to look for a car. I think starting out, always having one guy that knows their stuff is really good. Like us, with Jason, he obviously knows his stuff, and him teaching us is making me learn something every day. So as long as they, kind of have someone who knows what they're doing and can teach them the ways of how to go fast.
Yep, I think that's great advice. The other one I always tell them, come hang out at a racetrack. Some figure out, just somehow, some way, just come hang out, hang around. I know so many of my friends and myself, we couldn't afford to go racing, so we just absolutely went out and just hung around, started wrenching on cars, and I'm talking from a very, very young age, and just learned how to do it, from the very early stages. Let's go. I'm going to hop over here to live chat. So I think that, is there anything else you would like to add? Anyone else you would like to thank that we've missed, Robbie?
I'd just like to thank, the regular sponsors at Madera Speedway, always getting us, Mission Foods, Nut Up, 5150. I've always got to thank my regular sponsors here too, Wiley X, Oakley Chiropractic, Line X, Lemurs Concord Buick GMC, American Swim Academy, and ST Plumbing.
Well, and like we always say, support the brands that support our sport. I don't care if they're on a cup car, World of Outlaw sprint cars, a little sticker on a go-kart, or right at the Madera Speedway, Merced Speedway, any of these tracks down at Vegas. Support those brands that support the sport, race fans. That's how we keep the sport moving. That's what makes our sport so special as well, Robbie. You know that, where the fans are just very dedicated. I mean, look how many of us wear Wiley X sunglasses. That was from various cup drivers. I saw them on quite a ways ago. All right, so I'm going to jump over and let's see what we've got for fan comments. So we'll leave Robbie up on the screen, and we'll move over here since normally I've got Matt moving these around to me. Let's see what we've got here. John Williams says, good evening. I won't go over John's question. John wasn't, he was on the broadcast with us a little bit earlier doing a recording, and so he had some funny questions. Stephen Blakeslee, we'll just go over some of the comments, thinks Frank is the shoe-in for winning that race. Frank was hobbling pretty bad, so I don't know about that. Let's see. So Sterling Baker wanted to know, hey, Robbie, do you want to join NASCAR someday? Yes, for sure. Congrats on last weekend from Jason Lawton. Okay, so here's a question. Danny Cox wants to know, Robbie, what if someone's 28 years old and wants to go racing? If they're 28 and they want to go racing, what would your thoughts be then?
I think it's kind of the same concept, just in a different way. I think just definitely like you said, I think they obviously need to just go to every racetrack they can and really see the kind of lifestyle that we race car drivers are in, and try and, get some wrenches in there and be nice to the right people, just try and get someone who knows what they're doing and can teach you, and eventually you can be the guy teaching that, a new and upcoming driver what to do.
Yeah, and 28 years of age, believe it or not, that's actually much easier to go racing than it is for, 8, 9, 10-year-old kids. They definitely need the support of the parents. That's the only way it's going to happen. If you're 28, 29, you call the shots. Actually, in my case, believe it or not, I didn't get to run my first race until I was clear into 19, almost 20 years old. So it's never too late. It's amazing to see some of the really successful drivers that start later. I hear it a lot, Robbie, that we interviewed a driver here a couple weeks ago, and he said, hey, I didn't get started until I was 10, so I'm way behind so many of these other drivers. So he's trying to do double duty, dirt, pavement, and all that, and then thought he's way behind. So it's kind of funny to hear that. But Robbie, tell me about your thoughts. Let's circle back just a little bit because some of this may be used, and Matt will dub it back in. But there's been a lot of conversation, probably because of Kyle Larson, a lot of conversation about dirt and pavement, how good drivers, so many of the great drivers come from dirt racing, which I certainly feel that myself. What's your thoughts on dirt track racing?
I kind of have the same thought about dirt track racing or any types of racing. I think I love watching dirt track racing, and I feel like, I do definitely see a lot of guys who come from dirt and immediately get good on asphalt, and I think it's because of the way of how you have to run dirt. You're always sideways, and the guy like Kyle Larson, can easily save a car or run that car up on the wall without hitting it.
So you think it's definitely beneficial. And I do. And coming from dirt, there's a real seat of the pants feel that you see from a lot of the dirt track drivers. Did you get to race any dirt at all in the quarter midget? I know they run some quarter midget tracks that are dirt. Did you ever get to do that?
They definitely run some, but my dad was never into dirt. We've never really been into the Sunday afternoon cleaning for 5 hours. So I never got the chance to run a dirt race.
Now, you guys weren't too far from the Bay Area. When I grew up racing in dirt, we ran Watsonville, San Jose, Baylands, Merced, Santa Maria. And I'll tell you, a couple of tracks that you would get used to cleaning the cars on a Sunday was Santa Maria and Baylands, especially Baylands. I mean, that track was just glued down and hooked up. And my father-in-law owned a car wash, but he wanted to put a sign out there that said no race cars. That's how bad it was. You go in with that was part of my duty, was going in with a shovel and buckets cleaning the place up. So yeah, the dirt racing. Who do you think? I'm curious, and we won't use this on the MAV TV show, of course. But who's your favorite Cup driver right now?
Right now, I think it's Chase Elliott. Like I said, I was a huge Jeff Gordon fan. My dad was Dale Earnhardt Jr. fan. And, ever since I came into NASCAR and, liked it, I was always a Gordon fan. And him dropping out and Chase Elliott, taking over his seat at first, I always kind of fell in love with Chase Elliott after Jeff Gordon retired.
Chase Elliott's he's quiet and well-spoken, sort of like a Jeff Gordon image as well. So do you see yourself modeling your image off of a Jeff Gordon or a Chase Elliott, or do you look up to them as role models?
Yeah, for sure. Being a Jeff Gordon fan, I always found him as a role model. And I, hope to be as good as a guy as he and Chase are, one day.
So on the opposite side of that, just have some fun here. Who's your least favorite Cup driver?
Well, my least favorite Cup driver, I don't really have one particularly. I like I have respect for all NASCAR drivers. Anyone who's really ever wrecked my driver, I do not really like, though.
Okay, so there is a big fan component in there for you if someone wrecks your driver. So who's wrecked your driver the most this year?
I don't really remember anyone really wrecking Chase Elliott much. He's kind of been really clean this season, and I don't think he's really ever gotten into anyone that's made me not like him for sure.
What's your thoughts on Kyle Larson?
Watching Kyle, I really think Kyle Larson's one of the best for sure. I think, his actions definitely hurt him, but him going out and winning all those dirt races after the fact, and eventually getting into Hendrick Ride and winning all these races, I think it'd be really cool to watch him win the championship this year.
Yeah, I think he's also brought all of us in the short track world a lot of attention, where those of us that are passionate about the little tracks, the short tracks, the micro sprint tracks, he's definitely brought that side a lot of attention, and really is regarded as a throwback racer, just amazing. He can drive anything and win in it. What would be your thoughts on him possibly running IndyCar? There's a lot of talk about maybe running the Indy 500 next year. Kyle Larson, what would you think? Is that a mistake or is that a good idea?
Racing anything to me is a good idea, and I think Kyle Larson having the talent he has, I think he can. It may not take him just that one race, but I think if he ran multiple races, he could easily get the hang of it.
So speaking of Indy cars, would you ever yourself, if something presented an opportunity, would you go IndyCar racing if that opportunity came up, or are you more of a stock car guy? Is that your plan to be in the stock cars?
Well, like I, said, I'm really into any kinds of racing. I watch Formula One a lot. I watch IndyCar. So if it ever, presented the opportunity itself, I feel like getting into anything and trying out, all types of racing is the most fun for me.
All right. Well, it was great. I appreciate your time for us today, or taking the time with us today. Before we take off here, let's hit one more time. So as folks are watching this in the recording of it, let's touch on this one more time. The way you can help Robbie Kennealy and the Kennealy family is by going to GoFundMe.com and then search Kennealy Fire Race Car Fund. If you would, GoFundMe.com, search Kennealy Fire Race Car Fund to help them out. Their motorhome burned down. You can see it on the left as the fire was going. That continued right into the garage, burned down the race car and lots of racing equipment, as you can see on the right-hand side of that collage. That center photo is what the car looked like, and on the right-hand side is what it looks like right now. He has a loaner car. John Keller and that team's helped him out for September 18th, but they're trying to raise some funds to replace that race car. So any help would be much appreciated from our race fans and our fan base. Robbie, thank you very much for the time this evening. It was fun having you on our very first version of this show. You'll see a lot more to come, and it's fun. We just want to have our fans be able to chime in while we're interviewing you guys for that. All this that we put together, it'll be 2 minutes. I'll drive your parents nuts with get us pictures, get us video. So you might as well tell them right now, go to work. Even though we've got some from the underdogs last year, we want more video and more content. We're going to play a video right now. Actually, Robbie, hang tight real quick. I want to get your response to this. We'll play a video, and then I'm going to have you respond to it, and then we'll close the show out here. Hang tight here.
All right.
Now Stephen Blakeslee is down there with the driver in fifth place tonight. Good to see him in the top five tonight. It's the 1K of Robbie Kennealy with Stephen Blakeslee.
Well, this is the first halfway break interview in this man's junior late model career, Robbie Kennealy. You guys keep getting faster every qualifying session. A 15-1 today in qualifying, fifth at the break. What does this mean to your small race team to be here in the top five?
It means everything. The fans are in the stands. Everything's going in our way right now, and we hope to, finish out in this spot or better.
So what do you need on the race car to improve tonight?
We're a little tight entry to center, so we made some changes, and hopefully we'll run up front with all of them.
Making some changes, trying to loosen up the 1K for Robbie Kennealy P5 here at Madera. And you could sense from the Kennealy team that it was a victory just to have made it into the top five at the break. But now they got to fight off that Nake-prepared car of Holly Clark. And
Madera, the new resident to Madera, Kennealy doing a great job. Robbie Kennealy started out at position number 8. He's up to 4th on the racetrack, and he's seen those handling problems on the 11.
And gotta tip our hats to this man, the 1K of Robbie Kennealy.
Yes, you do have to tip your hat to him.
Robbie, that race is coming up on MAV TV. You finished 4th, had a halftime interview. I actually wasn't going to show that. I went ahead and grabbed it while we were talking there. I wanted you to see it. I know you haven't seen that footage. That's some of the polished, finished stuff that hits MAV TV for the 5150 series. That was race number 4. You finished 4th. What'd that night mean to you?
It means everything to me, especially, 4th place finish. It's one off the podium, and, you can only go up from there from getting the podium, being one off. And, I feel like it really meant to me, finally making the top 5 interview as well. And it was kind of really the first race that we really hit on something to run, inside the top 5 and be up there. And, I hope in the races to come that we can, get more footage of being up front like that.
Well, it was an excellent way at that point of the season, race number 4. And even though the fire took place, you just never know. You always have to take that glass half full and not half empty, so you never know. If you're on the podium here next week, maybe good things will come after that. And again, glass half full. excellent run that in round number 4 that's coming up here shortly on MAV TV. Again, thank you for spending some time with us tonight. I'm going to let you take off right now, close the show out. I know you've got schoolwork to do. Make sure you keep that schoolwork up. And probably don't spend too much time tonight on an iRacing rig. You'll probably hop on that instead of your schoolwork. But anyway, thank you very much for spending time with us tonight, Robbie. We'll catch up with you at the racetrack on September 18th at Madera in the 5150 Junior Late Model Series.
Yep, thank you, Kenny Shepard. Hope all you fans have a good rest of your night.
All right, have a good night. All right, race fans, that was Robbie Kennealy. And the Kennealy family, what a wonderful family. Families that race together, stay together, some of the greatest memories. Lots of challenges with racing, as we all know, any of us that have gone off racing. It's really a very, very big challenge, but in hindsight, the things I miss the most are family members that are not with us today. Those memories of racing. So when we get to work with these youngsters, I try and remind them all the time, enjoy the time. It goes by so fast. I was talking earlier about Roy Hart Sr. and how he passed away last week, and we lost Roy, and we've lost so many people like that. And I can assure you that some of their fondest memories from Roy Sr. and Ryan and the rest of the family were at racetracks. So families that race together, stay together, most wonderful memories out there. So this show, the Inside Draft, you'll see it again each Wednesday night as we're interviewing our different drivers, upcoming drivers. Just to give you a little sneak peek, we've got Brody Armtrout coming up, and then we've got a young driver, one of the youngest drivers, Jeffrey Erickson. We're going to have him. He's a fun interview. So the Erickson boys are a lot of fun to interview, very well-mannered, well-spoken. So they'll be coming up in the next couple of weeks. You'll see some information come out on that. And again, what we do here, we're going to do 4 segments, news and upcoming events, behind the wheel driver profiles, as you just saw with Robbie, fan Q&A. So if you've got questions, anything you want to discuss, whether it's with me or the guest driver, and then track tips and tricks will start next week. We've got crew chiefs that are coming in to give us different segments, a 15-minute segment on some setup information to help drivers out. Safety tips is what we're working on next week, actually. So next week is how to mount a seat and seat belts. And then as we go into the winter months, as I mentioned earlier, my racing sponsorship seminars, how to get a sponsor. We normally do those at the Hampton Inn. So instead of doing it at the Hampton Inn live, I think we can have more people enjoy what we're doing. So as we go into November, December, right here on the Inside Draft, we will try and get the drivers up to the front with how to sell sponsorship that we work a lot behind the scenes, spend a lot of time on. So thanks for joining us this evening. Next Wednesday night, 6 p.m., we'll have a round 2 of the Inside Draft right here, and then September 18th is round number 8 of the 5150 Junior Late Model Series and the Nut Up Pro Late Model Series from the Madera Speedway. So enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy the weekend. Hopefully you're at a racetrack somewhere enjoying some great racing. If not, be at the Madera Fair if you're around here. If you're one of our fans back east somewhere else, just go take in a race, see the local short track around you. They need all the support they can get right now. So we'll see you next Wednesday, 6 p.m., right here on the Inside Draft.